Hey, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. On this channel, we talk about crowdfunding, Kickstarter, Indigo, and more specifically, how do you take your dreams and make them reality? How do you turn your passion into profit and do it in a way that you can actually bang this thing out there? You can get people to buy your products around the world. That is one of my visions. That is my dream for you. And man, the phone has been running off the hook recently. I've been having so much tremendous interest when it comes to my coaching programs, which I'm so happy about, you guys. The fact that you guys are taking action, and also when it comes to some of the clients that I am working with, it is incredible. So things are very busy, but what I realized recently is that we need to make more content for those of you out there who are still right now in that idea stage. I think that one of the things I'm best at is getting people from that stage when you feel analysis paralysis, or when you're kind of a little bit scared and uncertain, to get you to take action and to begin to produce consistent results. So I want to talk about that today on today's YouTube video, which is if you don't even, you have an idea, how do you actually bring that into the real world? Some ideas to get you started more quickly, some of the resources out there, and it's coming up right after this. So I have a very full-fledged long video where I went step-by-step through how to actually create a prototype and the different stages there. So you should go and check out that video if you want to learn more about the specific stages of creating a prototype, right? What I want to kind of get into today are some of the resources that are available for you to get started, and also how to organize your work so you can actually begin to take consistent action and you begin to hit some of those milestones when it comes to this, and you can actually make progress. I know it's insane. It's so scary when you're doing a new project, but you can actually make progress on a weekly basis if you follow exactly what I tell you right now. Okay, so the first thing that you're gonna wanna start to do is, again, this is an idea in your head. And you maybe come up with this idea when it comes to seeing a particular problem in your life. Maybe you're brainstorming different solutions, and maybe you just even have it in your idea. You don't even have it written out yet, right? So I'm gonna really start from the very basics, beginning stages. The first thing that you wanna do is you're gonna really wanna treat this in the same way that you would any other kind of school project, or if you're in the workplace, any other kind of workplace project. So what does that mean? Number one, that means assembling a folder, like going out there and actually buying a folder which you can use to store a lot of the materials related to this project. Number two, I would definitely recommend beginning to get a sketch pad of some kind, and I will link up some of all the materials I'm talking about down below. I kind of want this to be almost like you're baking a cake and the recipe is down below. So if you want to learn the exact recipe in order to bake this cake, or in this case, building a product, go and check out the links down below. So number one is you got to have a sketchbook of some kind. It should probably just be no lines or anything like that. Just a very simple sketchbook so you can begin to flesh out some of your ideas. And I'll talk about why to do that in just a second. Number two, it'll be really useful if you have a little bit of graph paper. This has become more handy when you're actually thinking about measurements and these kinds of things. And you're gonna be kind of taking all of those materials that you eventually create and beginning to house that into this notebook, or into this folder, or into this binder which you buy, in order to kind of condense things together. The reason why you want to do that, first of all, is that when you have an organized workspace, it is so much easier. So it's going to first start with kind of offline, right? And there's a reason to that. But once you begin to bring this online, you're then going to have Google Drive folders. It'll be a folder on your desktop where you house all of the different information related to the product that you're creating. And that could be as simple as some of the design files you eventually end up making. That could be as simple as writing out the features and the benefits, one of the things that I obviously talk about when it comes to marketing. That could be as simple as well, talent scouting, who you plan to work with, like, etc. when it comes to the product. Right now, we are in the offline stage. So why do we get started in this way? The reason is that there are different types of work modalities, okay? And what do I mean by that? I mean that sometimes when you're doing work, it feels different. So for example, when I'm doing strategic work related to my company, or I'm doing marketing work, or I'm doing sales work, right? Or I'm writing up pages for a new book that I'm publishing. I recently just published a new book, right? When I'm doing that kind of work, it's a little bit different than creative work. So creative work typically takes more time, and it's kind of an out-of-the-box thinking style. And I find personally, particularly when it comes to trying to come up with something new or original or thinking things out, it really behooves you to have an entire book, whether it's a sketchbook or graph paper, that you can begin to create some different ideas and iterations, and not being afraid to fill that thing up, right? Not being afraid to actually write in that, and to allot a little bit of time to really just begin to think out and flesh out this product idea. So you're gonna be using that paper in a couple of different ways. One might be to actually think about like measurements and specifications. Other might be different views of the product. So how would it look, for example, we have like a battery here for my camera, right? How would it look from this view versus that view, different three-dimensional views, getting an idea of what this product is gonna look like and sort of start to come together. And what you're gonna instantly realize is that you don't have all the answers, right? And this is so common with the creative pursuit, is like you don't have all the answers, but as you go, you're gonna begin to fill in some of those different questions. So first of all, if you're looking to take action, this is the first step that you can do today, is go out there, like I said, get a folder, go and buy some graph paper, go and buy a sketchbook, and I'll include some links down below. Just start getting started, getting the materials together, because any good workman is investing in their materials. So that leads me to my next point.
Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillrite today. Link in the description.
So at this point in time, it really does depend on your comfort level, right? When it comes to developing a new product. For those of you out there who are advanced, who are industrial designers, you have a background in design, you might already begin to go into the computerization step, which I talk about in my other video, using SketchUp, using InDesign, using some of these other software tools in order to really bring what you created offline into life, so you can actually talk about this, you can share about this with other people. Some of you also might be aggressive and excited enough and ambitious enough, and I love that about you, to be able to learn programs like CAD or to work with someone else who already knows CAD in order to create the actual functionality and design of a particular design file and prototype, right? You might be as advanced to go that way very quickly. I'm gonna kind of aim this more to the beginner. So if you are a beginner out there, the step that I would recommend next is to really begin to learn a little bit about modeling, okay? So what is a model? A model is basically like a mock-up, if you will, of a product in three-dimensional form. So it doesn't necessarily be a functional prototype, but you will get an idea of the look and the feel of it, the size of it, the dimensions of it. Some models are obviously small, some are big, some are made to scale. If you think of like a plane, that's a model, obviously, of how it looks, but it gives you an idea of some of the details there, right? And even just the look and the feel and the look of the wings if you have a model plane. Some are actually made to scale, right? So there are different types of models out there. I would recommend this as the next step, and the reason why is that it's so simple to do and very easy and very inexpensive. So I actually have an article out there on my website, crowdcrux.com, which I will try to link up down below, but some great options are Shigru and also Sculpey. Another would be to use foam core, to use actually a block of foam core and to carve that into your actual model. I will link up the materials for those things down below so that you can check it out. But for example, if you're using Sculpey, it's very easy for you to have different colors involved in the actual model. You can also use Shigru, and you can maybe have additions to an existing product which you maybe already have around the house if you're doing like an add-on or some kind of additional functionality in that way, or something more along the lines of like an iterative product versus a whole new thing. So there's a lot of ways you can go here, but I would recommend, like I said, to begin the model stage next, and we'll kind of talk about what's next after that. So at this point in time, what I think is really important is that you're going to begin to just think more carefully about this product. And that's my biggest takeaway, is not only to get you starting to take action very quickly in very inexpensive ways. Let's be honest, anyone can go and get a sketchpad, anyone can go and get the products that I just mentioned to make a very simple model or foam core. So easy to do. The next step is really to build your emotional investment in this and to really begin to get you taking this more seriously. So this is obviously optional, the things I'm about to mention. However, I do think it's a really good product roadmap. So what you'll notice is that every single product out there, look around your life, whether you're looking at a lamp, whether you're looking at a light fixture of some kind, or you're looking at a desk, or even just like an Apple Watch, right? This is a very well thought out and carefully designed product based on different use cases, okay? So the way you want to think of it is like you're almost mulling over this one single product idea, problem, solution for a very long period of time. It might take you 6 months, it might take you a year. I've had people who have designed products over the course of 2 years, right? But it's the cool thing about this is that the longer you think about this, the more polished this idea becomes. It's almost like polishing marbles or something like that, right? If you have some very rough stones and you put them into like a rock polishing machine, at the end, they come out extremely polished, really smooth, very cool, right? So it's kind of like that. So when it comes to this next step, one of the things that I would recommend is if you can, and again, you might not be in an area to be able to do this, but if you can, try to join a makerspace in your area. What is a makerspace? A makerspace is just basically a community where people can use different machines. You can kind of think of it almost as like an incubator for some makerspaces. For others, it's more of like a co-working space where you can use some of the machines there. You can also talk with other people and talk shop. And it's a great way to also get many of your questions answered, as well as giving you a space aside from the wife and the kids, right? Or the office space, the tiny office you maybe have. It gives you a place to go and really just think and unwind, and also to really do creative work when it comes to coming up with different models and different prototypes and those different things. And you'll also get ideas of different types of materials that you can use to create prototypes and begin to assemble that sort of first working prototype version. The next thing I'm going to recommend at this stage is that I think this is a really good time for you to dive in deep and to really invest in your education. So by that I mean actually picking up a book on prototyping, on modeling, picking up a book or a textbook as well, learning about how to put together a product. You might not go through the entire textbook, you might not go through the entire book that I mentioned down below. I'm going to actually highlight a few that I would recommend looking into that you can check out in the links down below. You might not go through the entire thing, but it will be a great reference for you as you're moving forward, and that you can reference a chapter or two, and even just spending, $25 or even a little bit more on a book like that. It's really an investment in getting this product made. And again, this is about getting you taking action, man. And the number one thing, I'm telling you, the number one thing that holds most people back from taking action is lack of confidence, lack of know-how, not knowing what they're doing, right? The more that you understand the process, the more that you know what you're doing, the more confidence you build, the more fun it gets, just like with any kind of activity or hobby. And by just investing a tiny bit in your education at this stage, and even doing this earlier on, honestly, it's going to be well worth those dividends. And you can also talk shop as well, and it's going to be much less intimidating as you're going through that process. Now, this is again a little bit of a controversial point, I would say, but I also think that for those of you out there that aren't yet ready to really, move into full throttle launch mode, a lot of you guys are like, Sal, I'm ready. Like, I want to do a coaching call. I want to get set up with you. I really want to make sure that this happens. Let's go A to Z with this launch. Even do it over the course of the next year. Some of you guys like this. Some of you guys are like, you know what? I got to dip my toes into this, right? I am not yet ready to go forward with all of that. If you're more of that type and you really do want to think more over this problem and this solution, in my opinion, this would be a great time to do a couple of different things. So one would be, you could, if you wanted to, invest in a 3D printer. 3D printers have actually gotten really inexpensive nowadays, depending on your, sensitivity to pricing. It's around $200, $400 around there for a 3D printer, which is less than a laptop computer, which is less than a really nice Apple Watch, which is less than a really good iPad, right? So you could, if you wanted to, invest in a 3D printer and also the materials for that. And you could, if you wanted to, you consider you might make more products in the future, you could try doing that out. You could also learn about manufacturing processes, right? So things like injection molding, CNC milling, these different technologies that are available out there to you in order to get your product made, in order to get your prototype made, and also in mass production, obviously, in some of these cases. The other thing I would say around this stage is that if you wanted to, you could also use a service as well to get your product 3D printed. I think it would make a lot of sense as well around this stage when you're sort of getting a little bit more fully fleshed with your idea and more specific with your idea. You could begin to incorporate other engineers or other people to help you bring this functionality to life in the way of CAD designs and of really good sketches, really good design files that you can then show other people, and you can critique and talk about the different materials and talk about all that kind of stuff. So this could be a good stage to really get more serious if you're really thinking about bringing this product to market. I'll be honest with you, not everyone wants to bring a product to market. Some people want to license it and they go and try and do that, and then they realize that's not a good idea, right? And then they come back to wanting to bring their product to market. But everyone's at a different stage where it's like, hey, I want to do a Kickstarter now, and obviously I have a prototype to be able to do that. Other people are like, you know what, I'm going to wait a little bit, I'm going to raise some money for this, and then I'm going to go forward and doing something like that. And maybe that means investment capital from friends and family and that kind of stuff. So everyone's at a different stage, but I do think it makes a lot of sense once you've gotten this this far advanced, that does make sense to have really good prototype, really good, like I said, design files, things you can also send to factory so they know exactly what you're talking about and it doesn't leave anything to questions. So at this point in time, I would say that number one, you have an idea of some of the different things that you can do to get started quickly. For those of you who are just kind of looking for that answer and you're looking to really just get started and you want just kind of an outline, I would say, again, go and check out the links down below and you can see some of those materials and those resources to get you started. What I'm gonna talk about next is like where you can go from here. So typically from here, you're kind of in a little bit of a parallel process. So if you're not familiar, a parallel process is kind of what it is described as, which is you have a bunch of different processes which are running. As a business owner, if you're a business owner in the audience, you already know about this, right? You're already wearing a lot of different hats in your life. But basically, it's where you're trying to do one thing and move this boulder up the hill. At the same time, you're trying to move this other boulder up the hill. You're trying to move this other one up the hill at the same time, right? So one of those processes is refinement of the product, the prototype, what you've made, getting that golden sample so you can eventually, launch a campaign around this or raise money or whatever it is that you'd like to do. The other is beginning to get more clarity around the actual marketing of the product. So now that you're fully fledged and like it really makes a lot of sense and like you got this thing together, thinking about what are the benefits, what is the functionality, beginning to actually write these things out. So important, my friends. Who is going to use this? Where are they online? What are their typical habits? What are other products that are out there? And obviously maybe would think about this ahead of time as well, but really crystallizing that, writing that out so that other people can view your thoughts and your ideas and they can work with you to help you achieve your goals. The other thing, aside from the marketing is really planning what do you want to do next when it comes to this project. So if you have the incredible tenacity, the perseverance, right? The persistence to get to this point in the product lifecycle, you have like the world has opened up to you, right? So you could do a lot of different things. You could do things when it comes to running a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo campaign. You could do something new like a regulation crowdfunding or a WeFunder campaign. You could go straight to market if you want to, selling on Amazon or selling on Shopify, which I don't necessarily recommend that being the next option. I usually recommend that you kind of go through another feedback, iteration, launching this on Kickstarter to get funding and a tribe phase, because that, in my opinion, is like the lowest risk phase. But you could, if you want to, like I said, go direct to market. And you can also think more about, okay, so even after this, do I want to maybe begin to wholesale it? Do I want to sell this in bulk to other retailers who are then going to sell it in their shops? What is going to be my distribution strategy? Now that I know more about the materials of the product, who is going to manufacture it on an ongoing basis? Where am I going to get those materials? What part of the world is that going to happen from? Once those materials are manufactured, where is it going to get sent, right? Is it going to get sent to me personally? I'm going to assemble all of these things. I'm going to manufacture it myself, or it's already fully manufactured there. Am I going to package this and put in like my marketing insert and put this into a box and then ship it out to people from my garage? Or am I going to hire a fulfillment company in a different portion of the world who's going to then send these out to my customers and deal with returns and all that kind of stuff? So there's like a lot of little nitty gritty questions, a lot of questions as well about like trademarks and patents. When should I set up the LLC? These different things. So I would say that a lot of those questions can be answered as you go. However, it is such a huge leg up, man, if you can begin to learn about this process. So when you have finally begun to work on this, either for some students, they're interested in doing long-term coaching with me. And again, long-term coaching doesn't necessarily have to be like an arm and a leg. It can be bite-sized little by little. We have other students that are interested more so in the programs that I have that are like step-by-step walking you through the entire system when it comes to launching an effective campaign, an effective Kickstarter campaign, an effective crowdfunding campaign, etc. So at this point, you should really sort of think about your resources. What do you need help with? What are you good at? What do you suck at, right? Who do you want to work with? And thinking about just that timetable. But for those of you who are in the beginning stage, I will tell you the most important thing is just get started. That is the one thing that, in my opinion, differentiates my community, Crowdcrux, Crowdfunding Demystified, people who are enthusiastic about Kickstarter and crowdfunding campaigns, right? And doing new products and bringing new stuff in the world. That is the one thing that separates us from everyone else out there. We are action takers. We take ideas and we don't just sit on it, we do something with it. Even if that's just doing a sketch, even if that's just making a model, right, of some kind. Even if that's just, even beginning to think more critically about is this the best solution to that particular problem that I have identified? We are action takers. And if you are an action taker, man, you gotta take action. So thank you so much for listening to me on this video. I hope that you did enjoy it. All the links down below. Give me a thumbs up. If you did like this video, come subscribe. Man, we are exploding and I love it. And thank you so much for supporting me. And I really hope that we can bring even more great success stories to the community through my podcast, through my work, etc. Thank you so much. My name is Sal, and I'll see you next time.